Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Tim TK, and this is a Silverline show on Tuesday. I am joined, as always, by Mr. Quentin Bedwell.
Hey, everybody. Nice to see you. I'm back.
Yes, back from a small bit of the plague, but it got better. And, of course, we're also joined by new regular, Jose Fuentes.
I'm back. Oh, no, wait. I was here last week. Hi, everybody. We missed you, Quentin. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was a shame you missed out on our game night.
Yeah, it sounded pretty fun.
Yes.
I hate that I missed it.
We'll have to do one in the future now, and certainly having one of our regulars miss it is enough excuse to do it again sometime soon.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, tonight we have a pop culture. We're going to be talking about our favorite spooky stuff, as well as the Batman. Now that we actually got a more concrete trailer and idea of what it looks like, and it's kind of also I shared with the group a video from New Rockstars diving deep into some of the stuff in the trailer that really you only care about if you are as deeply invested in the comic books as we are, or are a giant nerd, which we claim to be. So, as always, we are more than just talking heads. We're people too, and we enjoy things. So we're going to take a little bit to talk about what we've been reading, watching, playing, whatever we've been ingesting this week. Let's start off with Quentin. Since you got a little bit of time to catch up on just some stuff, maybe. What have you been consuming media-wise?
The Good Witch.
Nice.
I've been watching it with my wife, So, yeah.
Nope.
That's about it.
Some,
when I have had time,
yes.
and usually, I'm usually about dead by the time I get in and get settled in the evening. She's got it on, so I just kind of flop down in the chair and, and that's what's on. So, yeah.
Some good family-friendly spooky season content. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually do usually like to make Halloween a time for scary movies.
Yeah.
And if I watch a movie, I like for it just to be a horror movie during this. Just like Christmas, you watch Christmas movies during Christmas.
Or horror movies.
But, yep.
Gremlins.
You could do that too.
Yeah.
So I hope to get some of that kicked off in the next week or so.
There you go. I got half my decorations put up, so I didn't get the other half put up, but we're halfway spooky over here. I normally try to be fully spooky right now, but time hasn't worked out as much as I'd hope. Jose, what have you been consuming of late?
First off, I agree that I should be clearly further along in my spooky decorations. We don't. It's funny as this sounds. We don't do a lot of Halloween stuff. I come from a family like my mother-in-law and my father-in-law were very conservative Christians, so they don't put Halloween decorations up. But I'm Hispanic. In our family, Halloween, not Christmas, I meant Halloween, but in my family, Halloween is important.
Yeah.
And we love going out and dressing the kids up and take like the innocence of taking the kids out and seeing all the kids dressed in costumes. It's just amazing to me. And I've always loved it. And we used to always put like the old school cutout of like Frankenstein or Dracula on our windows. We didn't have a lot growing up, but I've got like 2 fake Audrey plants from like from was it a Little Shop of Horrors in my front yard.
Nice.
Terracotta pumpkins out there, and I got to put lights up that I should have had up already. But like we also have, instead of like some people do like the Christmas town where like all the little houses with moving little people in it. They do like this big just like this big like plywood full of town and whatnot. We have one called Scary Town. So it's just like people dressed as Halloween costumes, witches on a wire flying around the building. We absolutely love it. We buy one every year.
Yes.
And then in regards to like consuming stuff, there's only 2 issues in, but I started reading, was it He Who Fights Monsters?
Okay.
which is set in, like was it during the Holocaust and whatnot, where Jews are just starting to get wrangled up into like ghettos and stuff, and it's about this doctor and this old man is just talking to him about like the Jewish story of the Jewish golem that
Oh
came
yeah.
to life to like protect the Jews and whatnot. It's 2 issues in. I'm like, oh my gosh, where's no third issue? What are you talking about?
Hmm.
Like, I wish I would have caught it
Man,
when it first started, but man, I can't wait.
that's dope.
I did actually forget to say I caught up on What If on Disney
Nice.
Oh,
Plus.
nice.
So I got all those watched. So yeah, pretty awesome.
So,
I was impressed.
Very cool. Yeah. I normally we don't do too much for Christmas. We just like the same stuff. But Halloween, we have the full setup in our front yard, which normally turn into some sort of graveyard scene with
nice.
something crawling out of the ground. I have yet to invest in the 8-foot skeleton from uh, Home Depot, but maybe.
So yet to invest in it means that
Yet,
the option is still there.
yes. So looking maybe in one of those. I've just started rewatching Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh wow,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
I watched that. I watched it all the way.
Yes, it's a classic, and I just felt like something maybe a little more camp rather than straight spook for my daytime spooky season watching. So
Right.
Buffy hits that right on the head. Uh, and speaking of Batman, I actually just started the Hush series.
Nice.
Yeah, guys, it's on Comixology Unlimited, so might as well. So I got that installed. I got that downloaded to my phone and have started reading that in my downtime.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned it like the first time I was on or whatever. My favorite is Lonely Place of Dying,
Mm,
which is like the intro, like the build up and intro of Tim Drake becoming Robin.
yeah. Yeah.
Like, that is my favorite.
Alrighty.
Back before he was confused.
Yep, that's right. I'm not gonna get into it.
I shouldn't have said that.
I
But
know.
anyway,
What do you think? Is not people are gonna talk now.
yeah. But
Oh,
anyway,
anyway, we're talking about some more in this first hour. We're going to be talking about some more favorite spooky stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So as we've already stated, some of us are big into spooky season in different ways, and being a goth who has grown up into having adult hair because I have to, but still refusing to dress anything more than black. Spooky season, spooky stuff year round is kind of my shtick. So I've had this trick or treat thing up on my bookshelf for 2 years now.
Trick or treat year round, huh?
Yep. So we're gonna talk about some of our favorite spooky stuff. Comics, movies, games, what have you. So I'll open up the floor to whoever wants to go first. What are some of your favorite spookers?
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, that's a tough one. I anything that's a classic, like before I ever watched the movies, I read every single Universal monster
Mm,
story that they ever put out, and they had them at my public library in the kids section. I was a little kid, obviously, when I got them, but I mean, I'm pretty sure I was either still in like at the end of elementary school and like middle school, and I found them. They were like orange and purple were the books. They weren't very big, but they
yeah.
had a slew of them. And every time I went there, I'd pick up like five and go read it and bring it back.
Yes.
So I like the classics, like anything that has to do with vampires. As long as I mean, gore is fine, but
I'll be right back.
sometimes you cover up a good story with gore. You know what I
Sure.
mean? So I like the classics that have a good story Phantom of the Opera is one of our favorites. Like
Mm.
with between me and my wife in regards to musicals. I know that's not really like Halloween esque, but like I mean, there's a masquerade in it. You know what I mean? Just the
Yeah.
music and the tone and whatnot. Something we thoroughly enjoy. Um, then on top of that, classic like horror comedies like Haunted Mansion
Oh
and
yeah.
Young Frankenstein. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Young Frankenstein's
Those are
so good.
yeah, those are go tos for my family. Like we literally quote those movies all year long.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. At some point, I always end up quoting and like "Walk this way" to someone.
Yeah.
No, this way. Um, yeah. It's. I do love the classic. I do love some good. I had this weird metamorphosis where I couldn't do body horror for a while, but now I love it because it's so absurd in most cases. Where there's some of them where they just take the right amount where it's very unsettling, and I'm like a little cringy on that. But I think I don't know. There's almost something slapstick if someone takes body horror to like a new level. Like what was that it's a good like Nicolas Cage's newer like horror movie stuff it has no right to be as good as it is. I still need to watch Pig, which is his most recent movie, which is just about life as what's the name of the like truffle? Being a truffle farmer, but the
That's
movies he
an
did
actual
before,
movie?
yeah, yeah,
I did not know that.
yeah. But I know he had Mandy, The Color Out of Space, and another one I forgot the name of it, but they're really good. Very
So the
psychedelic.
color out of space that was based off of H.P. Lovecraft, right?
Yes, yeah. He did. He did like 3 years where he was just in like psychological or like cosmic horror movies. Mandy was a really good like psychological or oh man, psychological psycho something. You'll feel like you're on some psycho something drugs watching it after a while. But it's one of those movies where it takes body horror to like a weird level where you're just kind of laughing at the absurdity of stuff just like happening.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that's kind of been I do appreciate the classics like Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and
Yeah, I definitely do too.
Yeah, the original werewolf story, I forgot what it's called, but it set in Ireland, and then the Werewolves of London and all that stuff. That was very
I didn't think I was gonna like the newer Wolfman movie with Benicio del Toro. Even though I'm a big Benicio del Toro fan, I wasn't sure I was gonna like it as much until that scene when all the doctors were in that theater. And he was just like, "I'm going to kill all of you," and I was like, "Holy crap, this is great!"
Yes.
Like, why didn't I think this is gonna be awesome? Like, freaking one of my favorite actors, one of my favorite movies, like remakes. What the heck?
I like all the old classics. Definitely, it takes me back just memories of seeing the creature from the Black Lagoon and the old Dracula and all that. And I like old horror comics too, and that's something that's what I got up for, is because I picked these up. Stephen Butler did some artwork. It's ACP Comics.
Ooh.
You ever heard of ACP?
I've heard of SCP.
Forbidden Gallery. It's filled with anthologies.
Ooh.
That's Stephen Butler's artwork on there.
Yeah.
And man, I haven't really got to dive in too hard to them, but they're just classic horror. Like Tales from the Crypt, or it's really awesome. I can't wait to get into those. That's what I got up for, to go get them.
Very cool.
Brag on my man Steve.
Of
He did a
course.
great job on these. But yeah, I love classic. I used to like to read horror books too. Used to love those.
Yeah, I love horror novels. Like are a constant go to for me, or even stuff that has like even just like light elements of horror. I love. I think that's why I'm also super into the Warhammer lore and all that stuff, because it is, space demons are a constant.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, I always liked the horror novels, but I especially like the short story.
yeah,
The short story horror novels. Where they would have like 5 or 6 of them in one.
yeah,
And that way you could get through with one, and then for the next evening or two you could get the other one, or really
That's
like
one of the
that.
reasons I like and am a fan of like H.P. Lovecraft works, because it's short story. I don't have to sit there and like invest months or weeks into reading it. You know what I mean? I can sit there and just read one story and like whoa, and then the next day read another story.
yeah. I have the collected works from Barnes and Noble, and that crack that out and go through it, and even sometimes throughout the rest of the year I'll go back and visit something. But
For Lovecraft,
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
I just picked up because it was on sale. Was it Sherlock Holmes versus Cthulhu? I think it is.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I haven't read it yet, but I think I'm still working through Colorado Kid. But
Yes. Yeah, it's also super wild with all the stuff being public domain. So if you want to write a Cthulhu story, you absolutely can.
you're right.
And also, I think Great Gatsby just entered public domain. So waiting on that crossover.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Dang.
That'd be perfect. Yeah.
Well, with me personally, there's. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
There's different kinds of horror for me. There's like haunted ghost horror.
Yeah.
And then there's like possession, kind of horror. And then there's like a thriller killer type horror, which usually ends up becoming grotesque. And then there's what else is there? There's the campy, funny horror that kind of can be any of those. And there's of course the classics, monster horror.
Yeah.
And I like all those. I like the space horror. Probably the ones that probably creep me out the worst though is the possession, and the ghost horror. Those are ones that really give me the heebie-jeebies. Like, they're really get down. Hit that spot somewhere down deep inside of me where, even to this day, if I watch a good enough, yeah.
Those will get me if they have like a really strong like central thing, like if they can make you afraid of one specific innocuous object.
Yeah.
I forgot there is that one with Kiefer Sutherland where the monster was in the mirrors. I forgot the name of it, but he's going around New York City and just you can't look at a mirror, you can't see a mirror, like it's this whole thing where afterwards you go into a bathroom in the middle of the night, you see your mirror and you jump a little bit.
Right. There's a Denzel Washington one too, where the dude or whatever was jumping bodies and stuff like that. And
see that? Yeah, I love that movie. That was awesome.
He was sitting there and like watching this dude, like watching just jump from body to body, singing a song, and each person would like start like it was crazy.
Yeah.
So, like, possession movies like that. My wife had problems with those.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a demon of some sort, or yeah.
So we don't watch those stuff like that at the house. Like if I watch it, it's because a friend put it on at his house and it's whatever. But,
right.
We don't watch it at the house. Like how it is. Happy wife, happy life. So
yeah.
I don't want to bring that into my house. My wife would just,
well, one thing that always got me growing up was like dolls and like ventriloquist dolls, horror movies centered around that kind of stuff. That oh man, that creeped
That is like
me
the
out.
creepiest villain from freaking was it Goosebumps?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like that freaking mannequin that comes alive. No thanks.
And see, Goosebumps, I never was exposed to Goosebumps until much later. And that movie, the movie that they made with Jack Black, the first one, I don't know about the second one,
Yeah.
but that was so weird because there were so many things in that movie that I remember like having dreams about when I was having my terrible nightmares as a child after watching that movie with Anthony Hopkins, Magic. I don't know. I can't even. I don't know if y'all ever heard of it, but he was a ventriloquist guy, and his doll kind of came. He actually had a psychotic break. It was one of those. But to me, being a little person watching it, because we could watch anything when I was growing up, I didn't understand all that. And to me, the doll was alive, and it was just creepy. Yeah. I really like to watch stuff like I remember when Ghost Hunters was on. I used to like to watch that. Just of course, you kind of get wise to it after a while. They're not really gonna. I just find it interesting,
I never really watched it, but like I like reading about stuff like that. Not like particular people going there to discover and unearth ghosts or reveal them and whatnot, but like
Yeah.
the idea of like this is a collection of short stories, but they're true stories of the myth of something. So like this hospital in Kentucky has this ramp, and it's called like the death tunnel because where people would have like was it the tuberculosis illness
Yeah.
going on, people would get sick and die, so they would just launch bodies down this ramp into like this big freaking tunnel or whatever, like stuff like that. Like that's real. That really did happen. But then they write a story about it. You know what I mean? Like they incorporate it into a story, stuff like that, or like anything that like told of the urban myth and legend of that particular thing. You know what I mean? The whole like Bloody Mary thing that never really got me, but like or even like got me interested. But like definitely tell me that freaking this particular building was rumored to have this person, and this person went crazy and died in the house, and there's rooms and doors that go to nothing, but like tell me that stuff and I'm riveted.
I think Tim, you and Tommy and Dean were talking about it one time.
Yes.
Getting everybody together and going on like a ghost hunt somewhere.
Yeah. So Dean, Tommy, and I are all interested with a willingness to accept. So we've talked about the idea of getting Dean has all the equipment, but Tommy and I have some. But if we're posted up at the same convention somewhere, getting a bunch of our stuff together and doing a finding the nearest haunted whatever and doing a Silverline ghost hunt or something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. As long as we don't find anything.
Right. It's going to be like Silverline Blair Witch situation.
Accidentally haunt a convention, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, my thing is in those, and some people don't really believe in ghosts, but the thing is that worries me about it is as some of these guys going and doing this stuff, the idea occurs to me that they could be pulling stuff around with them. Going to a place and attracting something because they're, of course, paying attention to it.
Right.
And maybe, pulling it from one place to the other. That's the thing that kind of freaks me out about it a little bit.
All right. Well, they also have to get like the weird like astral mechanics of like how do ghosts work? Do they buy into people, or do they have to like buy into a specific location, or some cultures will say that they have to be something they're emotionally attached to in life, so they can only stay around whatever object that was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think on the subject of ghosts, that was also I couldn't stick around with American Horror Story, but the first season that had the haunted house with the ghost family there,
That was good.
that was really good. Yeah, the rest of it, I lost interest in it after season 3 because it just kind of wears on you unless that's your shtick. But the
Yeah.
first season I thought was really good.
Yeah, I was really disappointed that ended up being like a anthology type thing, right? You're talking about American Horror Story, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there was another one, and if you haven't seen it, it's just awesome. Is the first season of The Haunting of Hill House, I think it is.
I've had that recommended to me. Yeah.
It's good. It's a lot of it is very original, is what I thought. It wasn't just a bunch of jump scares and just creepy stuff. It's very good. Very good.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen that, but that's one of the like advertised themes for the Universal Horror Nights.
Well, I didn't too much care for the second season. It's a kind of ends up that it's like an anthology type thing, just like American Horror Story. But the first season is definitely, you should watch it. It is, for me. Usually when I watch a movie, especially a scary movie, I get disappointed unless it's like I get surprised. Like, for instance, Insidious. I really enjoyed Insidious. All 3 of them. I think was there a 4th one? Can't remember. But they were all good to me, and they were all different enough, and they were good to me. But this one was, it was good. I was beginning to wonder if it was going to be good, but it actually ended up being really good. So
nice. Yeah. There are very few horror series that I feel have as much lasting power as something like Insidious did, other than was it The Conjuring had its run.
Yeah.
But I feel like the most notorious example is Paranormal Activity. There's 5 of them. Everyone liked the first one, and after that, it just kind of got to the point where you're wondering kind of when it would end.
Yeah, there's certain parts that were really scary to me, but I don't know. As a whole, I didn't too much care for it, as a whole.
Yeah,
but it had some definitely scary parts to it. Some yeah, I gotta admit, it's pretty freaky stuff here and there.
I liked. I know I'm probably in the minority on this one, but I didn't like the Blair Witch movie.
Interesting.
But I actually liked the second one, which is instead of taking I know people were like, seriously? I'm like, yeah, kind of, because I went into it knowing it was a movie. It wasn't like, oh, we're gonna pretend that it's real facts and stuff like that. So
I'll do you one better.
Movie.
I've never seen it.
Well, there are aspects of it. There's this owl that comes through the glass, and if you freeze your frame just right, the glass looks like a skull. You know what I mean? The broken pieces flying out, stuff like that. Just little stuff like that, little Easter eggs like that. Just that gets me too. I enjoy stuff.
Well, there was so much hype around it. It's all I heard about, and I don't know. I was a little interested, but my dad wasn't interested at the time, and so we just never did watch it. And I just never ended up watching. It's one of them that just kind of fell by the wayside.
It's interesting. The marketing that went into that movie, if you go to a school for marketing, that's a required study because of the fact that they created a alternate reality experience or altered reality experience where there's just this such a hard push into, you know, what you're about to see is real footage. It's been found, blah 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 blah. And before, you know, you had the actual ARGs where you'd use your phone to find, you know, clues to unlock a trailer or whatever. But the idea that it created just such a the website that went into it, the billboards that didn't have any context, but just going around where they shot the phone saying like, "Have you seen this person?" And then, you know, they'd just be word about to say, "Oh, that person is in this movie." That's super weird.
Well, I remember hearing on multiple occasions, you know, "Oh, it's a true story."
Yeah,
It's true. I was like, "Yeah, okay."
Yeah,
and
it's. And of course, the people who acted in that movie could never find work again because that would ruin everything.
Right?
Yeah. No, I had a different thought.
Sorry.
Oh no. Speaking of sort of like you know, movies on pedestals. Have you guys seen Signs?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yep, that was a good movie. It wasn't my kind of movie at the time, but you know, I ended up liking it.
Right? That was Mel Gibson? Am I right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And Joaquin
Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yep. That one part.
The newsreel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty awesome. The other, but I think there was another movie too where they were having had a scene similar to it, but when you could see the silhouette of the thing in the TV screen, that's you know, usually these movies, something of them sticks with me, and that was one of the things that stuck with me with that one was when they turned the TV or whatever, and there was like a reflection of whatever it was in there. That was pretty messed up.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
I think it's on Amazon right now.
It might be. I think it used to be on my list until I, forgot my list.
Yeah, that's fair.
What was the movie where the children, or where there was the people in Alaska being abducted? What was that movie?
Thing? Right?
Not that one, but that was an awesome movie. That was an absolutely awesome movie. I loved it. A lot of people didn't like the prequel they made to it, but I loved it. I liked it.
There was a prequel to it?
Yeah, it's you didn't. Well, I don't want to say any more. But
no, there was a prequel.
Well, you could be watching it and not know that it was a prequel.
Okay, fair enough.
So it was really good, really good, really good. But there was one where, and I can't remember the name of it for anything. It was about people being taken in Alaska, and there was this family that was kind of being terrorized by these aliens or whatever, and it had a really horror.
Kind?
What's that?
The Fourth Kind.
You know what? I think that is it.
Yeah.
It had a really horror aspect to it. I mean, it was very jump scary, and
yeah, definitely. I really like the style of horror where you don't really see the monster until the end. The whole idea of like fear of the unknown. But when a movie can do that as well as fit in jump scares without actually, showing everything all at once.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Same. With all these effects and everything now, I mean, they don't miss an opportunity to show you, and I hate that.
The Babadook was a recent one, but that was a fun one where it came to just kind of alluding to something without really showing you until later.
If only the trailers would do that.
Yeah. Trailers ruin movies in just about every genre, though.
I know. I try not to watch them. Like that's why I waited so long to watch that review that you sent us.
Yeah.
'Cause I was like, am I gonna watch that? Because I already have misgivings about watching a movie with that what's his name. But man, it's kind of the cool people in it, and I want to watch it. I
Yeah.
don't want to know about it. I just want to go into it blindly because personally, I like the idea of Ben Affleck as Batman.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a weird bird. I think.
Okay.
Like I
Yeah.
like stuff that people don't like.
Well, you like what you like.
Exactly.
I mean,
Right?
you know,
Taste is subjective.
That's true.
yeah. There's you know, people I work with. They there one guy in particular. He hasn't seen Lord of the Rings. He doesn't plan on it. He doesn't want to see it. He has not seen Star Wars. And
So he
Yeah.
doesn't
I
like
told him,
great
you know,
movies.
at this point, you probably shouldn't watch it because, you know,
That's
I
not gonna
mean,
hold up. Yeah.
yeah,
And it is. Yeah. It's almost interesting seeing these things that have been, they are in the zeitgeist to such an extent where, and someone's just not at all affected by this. It's got to be like the one guy in Greece who hasn't heard Socrates.
yeah,
It's like, really?
Yeah, like there are certain things that even I understand that there are certain things that you really, if you're a movie person and you love movies, you like any aspects of movies, there are certain movies you should watch, right?
Hmm.
Like Monty Python and the Holy Grail,
Oh my
or
gosh, yes.
Life of
yeah,
Brian, right? Um, or what was it Spamalot, stuff like that. You know what I mean? But I
mhm.
won't. I watched the Holy Grail, and my wife dies laughing watching it every single time she puts it on. Like without fail, we'll bust up laughing, and I'm sitting here just deadpan the whole time.
You don't get the humor, huh?
I get,
There's parts of it
listen,
that I find
Pete's one of my
entertaining.
good friends. You think I'd
Yeah.
understand British humor?
All right,
Mhm.
man.
But yeah, I just can't. I just can't. But
They have
I'll
done
sit
some
there and watch
stuff I
Blazing
really
Saddles
like,
every
but
day and die laughing every time.
yeah, I don't get a lot of it. I don't get a lot of the British humor. But I can't hardly sit through Saturday Night Live anymore. I just
Yeah.
cannot. I haven't been able to for a long time.
If it's Bill Hader, I can.
Yes, yeah, he's good. He's good. But he's
Yeah.
gone though, right? He's
I
not. He
think I
hasn't
think
been on
they
there for a
yeah
while.
yeah he left pretty recently, but yeah, I haven't watched Saturday Night Live since oh god, what was that the sketch? Look what I can do.
Wait a minute. The Stewie?
Yeah, Stewie.
Stewie Stewart? That wasn't Saturday Night Live. That was Mad TV.
Yep.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mad TV,
Yeah.
that was some
Wow.
funny stuff. And I never sat through a whole one, but I would see like some of the sketches that they had, and they were really good, really good.
Yeah, I agree. There were like quite a few people on there that, obviously went on to like do cooler stuff. But like then there are people like I'm not surprised why they didn't do very well after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you get that with any skit, any comedy thing.
Hmm.
Um
Well, y'all remember? Yeah, I don't know. In Living Color, there was a lot of people that went from that show and made movies and millions and millions and millions. You know, Jim Carrey,
Oh
Damon,
yeah.
oh
the
yeah,
Wayans brothers, and
even J Lo.
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, J Lo was one of the dancers. One of was it
Just
the Fly
that
Girls or whatever they're called?
yep.
every time someone mentions In Living Color, though, I think of the band.
The band.
Yeah, they did
Oh,
Cult of
yeah.
Personality.
All the
Yeah.
personality.
Yes.
Oh man, I'm old enough to like have bought the tapes when they came out. Like I remember I had two cassettes that I would listen to every time I went to my dad's house. and it was Cult of Personality and Sex Pistols.
Nice.
Not even in the same like realm. Of the same
Yeah,
music. Every time, those are the two things I had on me.
that's awesome. Yeah. What about horror games? Have you guys messed around with many of those?
Hmm.
Some. I love Silent Hill,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
I
Yep.
don't think there's a Silent Hill game that I have not been absolutely in love with.
That's fair.
But it doesn't really scare me, except for when that freaking horn goes off,
Oh yeah.
right? And you're just like, yeah! It more frustrates me. But the first game that I got, like horror game I ever got, that just literally scared the crap out of me was Resident Evil. Like the
Mm-hmm.
first, was it the first one? Second one. Second Resident Evil. Like, I don't know why. It's just something about it just freaked me out.
Years ago, when I played Doom 3 when it first came out, I was playing it. I may have told this story before. I was playing it till I was probably about 3 o'clock in the morning. I was really into it, trying to beat it, and I went into a bathroom, and it's a first-person shooter. So one thing I always try to do in first-person shooters is I look down at my legs to see if I've got legs. Do y'all ever do this?
Yes.
If I walk by a mirror or somewhere where my reflection is supposed to be, I always check it. Well, in this game, they actually had your reflection. I went to a bathroom that had blood, splatters all over it. And you look into the mirror, and all of a sudden the camera goes right up to your face, and like your face just turns into like you just start decaying. And 3 o'clock in the morning, it just like, whoa, what?
Right.
Because nothing had happened. I had been walking along and nothing had happened except for, just some things like, skittering in the from, down corridors down, because it's like space horror.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing much had happened, and all of a sudden, boom! I was just trying to look in the mirror, and wow! And it was like that was it. After it was over, it was just like back to the game. Like, what just happened?
Yeah.
My favorite, one of my favorite franchises for a while was actually a horror franchise, and that was the Fear series. And I remember, like, once I figured out what the first one was, when they made out the 2 expansions for that, I committed to myself that I was going to turn them into like all night marathon runs, like try to beat it just in one night. And man, freaking was it? Extraction Point, Extraction Point. That thing. There are some moments where like things would just pop out of nowhere, or they like to mess with their sense of reality because they're playing as a character that's supposed to be psychically linked with 2 not very nice people. So the way the game messes with your sense of reality when you're sleep deprived and in a dark room with nothing but the game full blast from your earbuds. That was a fun time. Definitely could not sleep until later the next day, but well, not the scariest, but if you give yourself the right conditions, you can make just about anything scary.
Yeah.
True.
Anybody ever play Slenderman?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
There's a Slenderman game?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I did not know
that. That's the game is, I think, what caused the big craze, huh?
It came out at the same time, but I because Slenderman was a creepy pasta on the internet.
Thing, yeah.
Yeah, for like a long time, and then the game came out. A bunch of YouTube videos came out. That's when I kind of started seeing the cryptids YouTube videos come out, and then that eventually became SCP, which is also a fun thing to dive into. But when that happened, we were all super into the deep world of Slenderman lore, and
I like all the old timey photos. that they
Yeah.
had, like kids playing in the park and whatnot. Slender Man's off in the woods. I always thought
Yes.
like, and that's what stuff like that, like seeing those pictures and stuff like that, and like
Mm,
I don't want to say mythos of the character, but like kind of, and
yeah.
is what like interested me when I was telling you about like the different like urban legends and stories and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yes.
That gets me right there. Like I just love it.
About the time, we were also uh, doing a lot of like urban exploration, going through abandoned buildings and stuff, but also like hanging out in parks in the middle of the night or whatever. Right as the Slenderman is blowing up, and we had a group going like crossing over a river. One parts we had to like go through like some brambles and like under like some overgrowth, and a raccoon or something moved in the background, which 2 o'clock in the morning. That
Yeah.
but one of my friends, she just immediately like jumps, like nearly runs out and yelling "Slenderman." That's just what was that's just what was on top of her mind was Slenderman.
Well, that game was super, super. It was simple.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go around and pick up the papers, and you've got a flashlight, and the closer that Slenderman gets, you start hearing things, and I think probably the creepiest thing about it was the heartbeat
Oh yeah.
getting louder and louder. That sound.
Mm-hmm.
And it's real. It really gets you. Really gets you.
Yeah.
I can't believe I've never played that or heard
You've
of
got to
it.
play it, man.
I think it's
Yeah,
You need to
now
watch some videos. You need to
yeah.
watch some reaction videos of
right.
people playing it because it is
Oh
like people go nuts whenever they're playing that game
I'll
because
have to
it's
make
one of
that
those
happen.
things where nothing's happening, but you're looking for something to happen, and then it does happen, and it's like
yes.
totally gets you.
That's interesting. I mean, just the fact that you even like bring that up, like my 14-year-old daughter. I don't know if she just discovered Slender Man, but she just started like I just realized she was explaining to my wife who that is, and I'm like, how do you know about that? Like, oh, this story from here, blah blah blah. I was like, oh, okay. And so I had to explain to my wife why I thought it was like hilarious because of the photos, and she's like, that's just creepy. I'm like, yeah, but that's the point. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Just like back in the day, it was okay to take family pictures, even if like your child died, you take a picture with the dead child or with the dead
Yes.
grandmother.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Crazy.
those were creepy and crazy back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like back then, it was that was the okay thing to
Yeah,
do. Like,
that was
oh, we're
just
gonna
like
take pictures
going to a
now.
wake or something now,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and they'd have these photographers, they would have all these harnesses and stuff to hold people up and make
Mm-hmm.
them
yep.
look alive. Man,
Yeah.
Like, why would you want that photo? Like that?
Yeah.
What?
yeah. Women holding their children.
Yeah,
Uh, you can actually Google those. It's really creepy.
Yeah.
Really creepy.
Speaking of googling creepy stuff, have you guys gone deep down like the modern cryptid route, like either like SCP or Atlas Obscura, or just kind of like modern creepy things?
what
Uh,
is SAP?
so SCP stands for Secure, Contain, Protect. Uh, so what it actually is, which is really cool, it's a open source collaboration storytelling effort. So
Okay.
anyone can write something, either like a case file or a short story or something, and like upload it to the website. And then there are people who like turn those things into YouTube videos or short. There's a couple of like short films, like actual like couple $1,000 thrown into filming this type stuff.
Huh.
About essentially what if they're like a group that deals with supernatural, terrifying things. So, dealing with things like Sasquatch or there's one recently I watched it. It got turned into video. I might share it with the group later. But a like source code that alters the reality around where it's being written. So like a sentient computer script. Time dilation, all this weird stuff.
That is was it Black Mirror stuff?
Black Mirror kind of stuff, yeah. And then Atlas Obscura is, locations in real life, and then finds that have myths or horror stories attached to them, and it just tries to catalog all those.
That sounds right up my alley.
Yeah, and one of them is one of my favorite instances on this is actually local to where I am, and it ended up getting kind of confirmed. And that's the temple of Oculus Anubis. Essentially, just a super wealthy optometrist ended up building a giant house like out near Portland, and had got several shrines to or statues to Anubis built around it, and this like lawn pathway with a giant Oculus at the front. And it ends up coming out that the guy may have kept his family hostage and like tortured relatives and stuff. And like
may have
right.
He might have killed a bunch of people
according to some unsealed court documents. But
that's trippy.
Yeah, and so it ended up being like this weird thing that became like folklore, and then actually when the story came out, I'm like, oh, this is much worse. This isn't just some weird like cult that does weird things on their own time. It's actually a not great thing going on.
Man.
Right. I know there was a whole thing over by, and they had a house that they took you a tour through, right? Or through the basement anyway. About in Pennsylvania, about this doctor that worked on like vaccines and crap like that. And I'm not sure if it's specifically vaccines, but definitely like medications. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he constantly tested on like apes, chimps, gorillas, stuff like that. And he actually like had a room in his house where like he would be like storing all these different apes that he had, and his kids would play with them, and his kids ended up dying in the pond or the stream that was in his backyard. And it was trippy, but like
Jeez.
they definitely like make money off his story.
Oh,
but like
for
you
sure.
got to go through his house and see where there used to be a tunnel that connected his house under the road to the like laboratory / facility where he did his work. Yeah, it was interesting. Stuff like that, like I said, stuff like that intrigues me. That stuff that really happened, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even if it didn't, and like in my hometown, there's this one spot, and if you sit at the top of a hill and look down, there happens to be a street light that shines on a tree. And if you're at the top of the hill looking down, it looks like there's like a hooded figure, like
Oh,
a
yeah.
KKK hooded figure hanging from a tree.
That's insane.
It's a great date location.
Oh, yeah. That's always great though when you can find someone who is into like creepy stuff, and you just go on you get going the most exciting dates, and everyone else is like, "What is wrong with you people?"
Right.
Yeah.
I just introduced my wife a couple weeks ago to the story of H.H. Holmes. Anybody familiar?
Oh, the murder house.
Yeah.
Yeah. We watched a documentary on it. Pretty crazy stuff, man.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about real stuff that happened. Oh, crazy.
That's nuts. I think it'd be interesting if we can get, Tommy, Dean, myself out to, we'll crash with Curtis, but go to the LA murder house. It's supposed to be like the most haunted place in California. And the family owns it now. We'll just let you spend the night there if you got like they'll so they'll
like for free. Or you gotta pay to stay there.
I think you gotta pay to stay there, but they're like, if you want, they can do a tour, or they can just let you leave your own devices.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you would have to do the tour, right? Like just.
I think you'd have to. Yeah.
Like, you can create that ambiance and like in a context for when you stay the night there.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Well, it has been about an hour, and we do have a mid-roll to run to pay some bills. So we're going to go ahead and run our ad. And when we come back, we'll talk about the Batman.
The Batman.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! It's Santa Claus, and I'm here to tell you about some Silverline crowdfunding stuff. You know Silverline. They're the comic book company that's an independent, genre-spanning... you know Silverline! They're getting ready to do one of my favorites. It's a Christmas special. Ho, 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 ho! You're going to see some of your classic old favorites of Silverline that you like Bear, and Cat and Mouse, and Divinity, and Demon's Tales, and Kalis, and Rochelle, and Teen Beetle, and Trumps, and Twilight Grim. But you're also going to see some new titles. You'll be introduced to them for the first time. Cake Town, Night Rise, Obsoletes, Satin's Ways, White Devil, and Wolf Hunter. That's right, all those are new to you. New to me too. I'm so ready for them. Christmas is my favorite time of year. You're going to see some of your favorite Silverline creators like Del Barris, Aiden Belcher, Mike Belcher, Mickey Clausen, Peter Clinton, Roberta Conroy, Brian Dale, Rob Davis, Thomas Floramonte, Thomas Hedgeland, Aaron Humphreys, R.A. Jones, Barb Kalberg, Jeremy Kahn, Brent T. Larson, Roland Mann, Haley Martin, John Medic, and Jackson Rennick. Ho, 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 ho! But you know what? There's also a bunch of new names for you Silverline fans. That's right. People like Dante Berry, Quinn Bedwell, Jim Diaglue, J.W. Franklin, Ron Fortier, you know his name, Jose Fuentes, Cassisi Harris, Richard June, Les Loker, Henry Martinez, and Tim TK. That's right. It's gonna be grand. It's gonna be big. Oh, ho, 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 ho. So make sure you pledge to the Silverline Christmas special now. It'll get to you in time for Christmas. It'll look good wrapped up under your tree or in your Christmas stocking. Ho, ho, ho! Make mine Silverline! Wait, that was supposed to be Merry Christmas.
Man, that rolling. I mean, Santa Claus.
That was something else.
Rolling Claus.
Alrighty. Well, we are back, and yes, please go back our Kickstarter. It would mean the world to our finances. So we are going to be talking about the Batman. And some of our initial reactions to it, some our thoughts, concerns, fan theories, fan fictions, what have you. So earlier today in our group chat for the show, I shared the Batman trailer for those who have not seen it, as well as New Rockstars doing kind of a deep dive into it a little bit. They're a great channel for deep dives into everything comic book, pop culture related. They do also a ton of stuff for Star Wars, and it is great.
He really did kind of do like a frame by frame for it too.
Yeah. And I know, Jose, you said that's not necessarily your thing when it comes to movies, but I think it is, for something that's established as the Batman. I have a lot of fun with that, where a lot of stuff is probably going to be interesting things that you would have already known just from comics in the background.
Right.
Especially if the director is going as weird with it as he could. I feel like a lot of things that he hints at aren't really going to be things that are background information to what gets established or developed. Especially if it is going to be like a 3-hour, like hard-boiled detective noir with bat punching involved.
Right. Now that part doesn't bother. Like I enjoy that. Like
Yeah.
almost anything noir is like
Yeah.
definitely going to be, in my genre of interest. And so I seen the trailer. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there. It reminds me, other than like bat punches and a lot of movement, but it kind of reminds me of Dark City.
Oh yeah,
where
yeah.
You know what I mean? And I love that movie because that was just set in a very noir time, like situation for that particular movie. If you haven't seen it, like people should go see it because it's great.
Hmm.
I
But
watched it in the theater years ago.
right, so did I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great movie. I had no clue what it was about, but it was a
I
great
had no
movie.
clue what I was going to see. Didn't know what I was seeing when I was watching it.
There are certain movies that you get on the second or third watch. Dark City goes up to 5, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I had to
Well, I
watch.
mean, I got it after a while.
twice.
yeah, that is great. Yeah,
But I'm definitely like a lot more interested in wanting to see it now. Like even though, like I said, I don't like watching it be broke down for me. But if I watch the movie and then I watch a video like that, you know what I mean, where it breaks down, hey, parts I may have missed because I was
yeah,
too busy like watching the movie. I was like stuff like that. I actually like that. That's fine. You know what
yeah,
I mean? As long as I've seen the movie first for the most part. But like it was nice to have a little bit of insight so that I can come back and say, hey, I watched that and I didn't know that that was in there about this, that, and that.
right,
But those are interesting facts.
yeah. Well, I like how they pointed to like all the different like mainline runs that are referenced or could be referenced at different points throughout the trailer.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
Was it the Long Halloween? I would have not have caught that at all
I
without
wouldn't have either.
yeah. But I definitely felt like that helped build up some of my hype for
Now,
going to
the
see it.
Long Halloween, was that the one that has the holiday killer in it, or I can't remember.
The Long Halloween, I believe, is the one with the holiday killer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Also written by Jeff Loeb, who also did Hush.
Yep.
Yep. Man, it's. I also appreciate that they're doing a year 2 Batman as opposed to doing yet another origin story.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I get so tired of every time they bring them back, that seems to be what they focus on is the origins.
Yeah, I did appreciate the Dark Knight doing it because they did like a kind of more accelerated, grittier take on the origin. But if we were to get
Yeah.
another one, yeah, I've got. If when they did the Tom Holland movies, like you're just going to go straight into Spider-Man. He's been mythologized to a point now where he's being referenced in like rap songs.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Well, the
even
reason I
babies
didn't
that
mind
aren't
it,
born yet know Spider-Man's origin.
Yes.
yeah, I didn't mind the Batman Begins because it had been a while before since Batman had been in the movies, and
Right.
but when that came out, and it was to me a really different take than what we had seen in the past because it was more of a real world type, Batman.
We didn't have bat nipples.
Right. No bad nipples.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's kind of seems what they're kind of looks like they're trying to make it more grounded in some aspects of reality, but still maintaining the classic DC hyper stylization that's been really prevalent in their comics, especially as of late. But just the way Gotham City looks, but also contrast that with the very normal looking individuals. I guess I would say.
Mm-hmm.
They mentioned that.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, like they mentioned that this version of the Riddler may be inspired by the Zodiac Killer, which I think would be a very interesting look for the Riddler.
Right. Yeah, I heard Riddler was gonna be. I was like, oh, he's gonna have the bowler and you know what I mean, a nice suit jacket and stuff like that. But they're not going that route.
Well,
No.
another thing that I appreciate about this one is it looks like they're bringing the detective back.
Oh yeah.
Which it's not just going to be all action
Mhm.
packed. They're actually bringing the detective side of it
Oh
back.
yeah.
Because that was one of the biggest things about him, and he's a detective. That's his one of his strong suits, not just the cartwheels and the martial arts and stuff.
Yes. I like when you can punctuate lots of like really smart work with moments of high over the top action. I mean, we saw that he's wearing essentially a ceramic armor this time, so he's stopping bullets point blank range. And there are several scenes that look like they have some great beatdown, but if they can use that to punctuate, these moments of high drama or these kind of long, drawn out moments where he's, piecing together something. The cut to him, like essentially over the murder board where he's spray painting everything, and
Oh yeah,
that looks so cool.
that was great. Like just that clip, like just seeing that,
Yeah,
because that's so much that like you can like take in just from like freezing that and blowing it up and just looking at it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like that was definitely like stuff like I'm interested in seeing him working through the whole detective like
hmm
aspect, like Quentin said, like actually seeing his process as he's working through it.
yes,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yep.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I had talked to one of Silverline's resident Batman experts, Dean Zachary, earlier today. His takes on the trailer. He says, and I quote, "I'm always open to new interpretations. He felt like Zack Snyder's vision had nailed it for the older Batman. Since this approach is year 2, I hope there's as much detective expertise as fighting prowess. Batman should be half Sherlock Holmes, half ninja."
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
Agree.
Yeah, say that's pretty sound.
yeah. And I think the idea of having it also be, and they kind of mentioned this in the deep dive as well, but having it maybe almost more of a more naive version of Batman 2, where he's understand what he is, what he's doing, but he doesn't exactly understand the full context of everything going on behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's still growing into his role in the city, and it looks like we're also going to get the Commissioner Gordon, who at this point is Sergeant Gordon.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny. I just bought the figure because it looks like a friend of mine. That the guy who's playing as Commissioner Gordon is he plays on Westworld.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was one was it the scientist, the guy that like
Yeah.
like
That's awesome.
psychoanalyzed the robots and whatnot.
He looks just like a friend of mine. Exactly. I mean,
He was also in Hunger Games.
it was so funny. I've got him right here by my desk, my monitor. It's hilarious.
Like I look at you every day.
Yep. Well, he used to be a real quiet guy, and then he got put up in a position where he kind of has to give presentations and stuff like that, and so now he's a lot more outgoing. But there was a time when, just like that action figure, you would be talking to him, and he'd just kind of look at you. He communicated a lot with his silence. Especially if he thought you were just an idiot. And a lot of times, sometimes he wouldn't think you were an idiot, but he still kind of gave off that vibe like he thought you were an idiot because he didn't say anything,
That's funny.
And it was never like a shy kind of silence. It was more of like just silent,
Yeah.
Just what is this guy thinking exactly? Because he's not saying anything.
Right. What do you think about? We'll get to the obvious bat in the room eventually, but in terms of the other characters, what do you guys think about Colin Farrell as Penguin?
Boy, he said I heard that he was Colin Farrell, but I could not see it at all. Wow.
Yeah.
It was really crazy.
Yeah, that's not Zach Reynolds, was it James Quinto, his brother, who was the Romulan in the first of the new Star Trek movies? We're just like, is that the same dude? If,
That's
like,
funny.
yeah, for an actor to be like, I did not know you were there. I feel like that's can be a really good compliment if they do a good role where they meld into the person.
I thought it was cool. Like I saw the pictures of him like in full gear like a long while ago when they were first advertising for it, and like I know people are like, oh, it's Colin, what is it, Colin Farrell, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, like yeah, he's gonna be the Penguin. Didn't even look like it. I'm like, I don't even care. I think he's a good actor.
Yeah.
Really, he's gonna like smash that role. And just
yeah.
from the trailer, like I'm already like I'm so glad that I was willing to like him in that role. I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I just think, man, he's gonna be awesome in it.
It was like his voice also sounds like it changed. Like he did a lot of voice work.
Right.
Yeah. Just compare that to 2 decades ago, Colin Farrell as Bullseye. I feel like this is going to be much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's like the plus, like the pro and con to doing comic book movies. You're gonna do one, and people are may like you, but like you're probably not gonna be liked. And then whatever the next one you do is gonna be amazing.
Exactly. Well, it was
that seems to be how it worked out.
Yeah, Chris Evans going from the Human Torch to Captain America.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. I still think that if they were to do like at some point in the multiverse, they need to have him come back as the Human Torch, now that Cap has died.
Like dual role in the movie.
Yeah. Hilarious.
That would be funny. That would be great. I'd watch that.
I've also been I would have thought we would have seen more of Gordon. It looks like they're kind of playing him a little closer to the chest. Yeah. But he's in the movie description as being kind of central to the plot. So I'd be interested to see if they are trying to hide more of like the more detective elements where it is going to be Gordon and Bruce detectiving that'll be more central, but they're hiding that in the trailers because I mean you can only show guys around a mortarboard so much and have it still be good for a trailer.
Right.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it after seeing the trailer. I really wasn't excited at first, but I think it's going to definitely be worth watching. Quite a bit of stuff that's come out lately has not been too good, not been pretty good. Which I haven't seen, some of the movies. Like I haven't seen Shang-Chi, but I did hear people's reviews on it, and I will watch it. But I haven't yet.
I love Shang-Chi.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. I know some people really liked it, but some people were a little off-put by parts of it. But that's really a lot of movies, though. What about Black Widow? Anybody seen that? I have not seen it.
I just saw that.
I saw it. It wasn't the best, but it was fun.
That should have been whatever that dude is. The dude from Stranger Things. It should have been a movie by him because he took.
The Red Guardian. Yeah.
Yeah, Red Guardian. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I kept watching it and just like, okay, I want more of him just coming and just being ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he fought Taskmaster, I was like, he didn't even really fight Taskmaster.
No.
It was so good though.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
I watched Hellboy with him in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with him. It wasn't terrible. I mean, it wasn't his fault though. He did a great job, I think.
Yeah, I've not
But
seen
you
that one
know,
yet.
to me, it's going to be hard to beat Ron Perlman and
Mm-hmm.
what was the director's name? Del
Benicio,
Toro.
yeah, not Del Toro.
Yeah.
Well, wow. Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Guillermo.
Yeah.
it's hard to beat that. I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah.
I wish they could have came back and made another one of those because I
Right.
actually loved that series.
Well, I think they had planned to, but they just didn't make enough off the second one to get it greenlit.
Well, they
Yeah.
ended the second one like it was like, wait, is this it? Like,
Right.
Mhm.
you left that movie guessing. Like, I don't know if they're gonna make another one. Like all of a sudden they left, and you know what I mean. Like, not to spoil it for people who haven't seen it yet. But if you haven't seen it yet, you need to watch it. You're falling behind. That's crazy. That's been out for a minute.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think about the, I guess this movie's take on the Riddler altogether? Kind of mentioned his wardrobe, but the way the
It's-
riddles seem to be set up and everything.
It's definitely a departure from the Riddler we've seen in the past, isn't it?
Yeah.
I really like what they're doing. They're making him intensely dark. Looks like very, very psychotic.
Yeah.
I think I heard Zodiac Killer thrown around quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Hannibal Lecter type.
Yeah.
And I actually like that. I always thought the Riddler could have been done so much better and so much darker. And yeah, I think dark is going to look good on the Riddler. And
Yeah.
not
I
just
actually like him
nuts.
a little less dark, like in the comics, like
Mhm.
like when he decided to become a private eye. Like I thought that was great. Like I don't again, I have weird taste, but
Yeah.
like just the idea that he's a private investigator, you know what I mean? Like sometimes button heads with Batman, sometimes, you know what I mean, helping him out, like stuff like that. But then again, I also like Clayface, so
There you go. Yeah.
Well, I think as long as if they are going to end up doing a franchise with this thing, as long as every villain doesn't end up being that kind of dark,
Right.
'Cause
It's
when
not
you
all
got-
samey.
dark, gritty, and cut.
because like if everybody's dark, then nobody is.
Right.
I just hope that they don't fall into that trap of making everybody that way.
Yeah. Well, they seem like they're already kind of setting up Penguin to be a little lighter compared to Riddler, but I do kind of agree with that. I like, maybe keep that like similar tone-ish so it doesn't feel out of place where you don't go from, a grimdark Riddler to a slapstick Poison Ivy, but
Right.
certainly maybe not keep everyone as, Zodiac Killer-esque.
You need to have a dark and gritty Zodiac Killer-esque Riddler with an Adam West Batman. I would watch that all day too.
Yeah, there's definitely some chemistry there.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
I saw
Oh my
a
gosh, he Riddler duct taped this guy's face and started off with a spoon. It's like, yes, but old chum.
yes.
That would be great.
Someone did a Instagram reel where it's like as the Adamist Robin with the modern Batman, and it cut to Robin just looking horrified, like the moral code, don't kill anyone. And then it cuts to Batman, and it's playing sound of like someone just destroying a speed bag. This is Batman just punching this one dude on the ground.
Mm.
All right.
That's
What?
the kind of movie they need to make. They're completely like missing out on an entire genre of music
Right.
or movies.
Oh, that'd be so
There's a
good.
good question. You think it'll ever wheel back around to, like the old school. We've been in the dark for so long. I wonder if they'll ever bring back the chaotic good heroes, and
Right.
I
that would
feel
be
that
interesting to see.
people are too desensitized for something like that to come back around. You know what I
Yep,
mean? Maybe I wasn't alive back in like the '60s and whatnot, but like, I feel that just having the idea of like a Batman being kind of a little more campy, just played off well in that time period, and people were like, oh, like it was the endless wonder kind of joy of watching Batman, and now people are like desensitized by everything they watch in like social media or any other media that they're doing. That like to
that's
go
true.
back to that, yeah, to go back to that, people are just going to be like, I am no longer entertained by this.
I think it also kind of comes down to like the perceived markets. That I mean, for a long time, people didn't know like how to market comics as TV shows or as movies. And so, I mean, for all intents and purposes, that was Batman was supposed to be a kids show, but because it was Batman and because it was just very wackadoo, adults also got into it. But then, yeah, but I feel like that kind of storytelling still has its place. I mean, you have X-Men 92 in the comics is doing pretty well, and that's call back to like the cartoony X-Men's. The cartoony
Yeah.
X-Men's very campy, and that's doing well. The first, even the end of WandaVision didn't really get dark. It got like they added stakes to it, but WandaVision was all very upbeat, and there was more kind of humor you'd find in something that was on air 40 years ago, but they just added in some more stakes at the end, but it didn't really get dark with it at all. But I think there's
Right.
different I think it's just if they're to do another like I think there is room for it. It's just finding exactly where the market would sit with that would be interesting. But I think Batman has been associated with being dark and brooding for so long now that it would come off as being weird.
Mm-hmm.
But if they were to do something like that, if they were to do like a like a road trip comedy with Nightwing and Red Hood, or Arsenal and Red Hood, I feel like that would go great because it's two characters that can be serious, but they don't really have that same notation with them other than people like I recognize them from the Arrow TV show. But
Right.
yeah,
I can see that, but like, I don't see. I mean, maybe like if you took the different characters, like you said, Nightwing, Tim Drake, Red Hood, and whatnot, you know
yeah,
what I mean, and throw them into a different situation, that could be, but like, definitely not Batman.
yeah,
Even this movie, like you can see going from was it Tim Burton's Batman with Michael Keaton, going
yeah.
from that, you know what I mean, that was that was kind of campy, but still a little dark. You know what I mean,
Mhm.
given the fact that like Tim Burton did it, and his mind is very weird.
Yeah,
But going from that to like then was it Chris Nolan and Christian Bale, and it being a little more grittier and a little
hmm
more down to earth, a little more like Batman as a urban
yeah,
legend person, and then going to the Batman where like it's raining every day in Gotham City, and
yeah,
everything is like broken and falling apart, and Batman is just tearing hell into everybody he runs into. I like the these running joke that like Batman's just beating up Halloween kids.
He's just beating up trick or treaters. Yeah,
Yeah, like I don't think they are working to. Eventually, they're just gonna take Batman out and just show Gotham be like destroy itself with like everyone else in it. Like, oh, like we need Batman. They're like, no, he decided to stay out. He's like, nope, this is too
yeah.
much for me.
Well, I think I think you kind of pointed back where Batman thinks he's on the side of justice, and then he might actually we might do the weird semi-retired arc where Batman is like, maybe I'm making things much worse. I should just see what happens if I don't. But yeah, I think also just kind of like the cultural perception, and maybe also just as you do more study into people's psyches and how like past traumas affect them. I mean, up until 30 years ago, PTSD wasn't really a diagnosis, and we just kind of told people to walk it off.
Right, rub some dirt on it.
Yeah, but I think diving deep into Batman's psyche, like orphaned as a preteen, and then immediately swearing vengeance, then getting like picked up by a Eastern assassin death cult, and then immediately coming back to reality and learning how to investigate by studying some of the most grisly murders that have ever been like seen in the country. Is gonna. I don't think Bruce Wayne should be a well-adjusted person.
You're right.
Yeah, definitely.
But I definitely feel like there's, if you're to do someone like, maybe, like, I think having like the Man of Steel, I feel like that was kind of a misrepresentation of Superman's persona, because, I mean, his upbringing was he didn't really find out the fact that he was the last surviving member of his race. Not really, but he lived a normal life in the Midwest, and then eventually discovered that he can just help people because he can. So having him be a bit more, the what's the new thing, truth, justice, and the American way, or now it's truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. Like that absolutely makes sense. Having the guy who's like, yeah, you know what, we're gonna make things better. Whereas Batman, there's certainly charm to it, but Batman's Adam West, I feel like there's like a weird disconnect in the psychological study there.
Like, I don't know who this guy is, but he doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. He's just so disassociated from reality that.
Like Adam West Batman is what happens when Batman goes to a psych ward and starts like taking his drug treatments.
Yeah. Yes. So now we're talking about the Bat himself. What are some thoughts on Robert Pattinson as Batman?
I wasn't down for it. I'll be honest. Like, people can hate me. I don't care. I wasn't down for it. Like, I would always make the running joke, and I think I made it earlier when we were just chatting before the stream, that I don't want my Batman being sparkly.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know I'm like giving into like the stereotype of, and people get like typecasted because of things that they play.
Oh, for sure.
But even that wasn't the last, was it Robert Pattinson movie that I ever watched. And so like, I'm like, I don't know, dude. This is not my Batman. How can you make this emo kid my Batman? And then I watched the trailer and I was like, crap, I don't want to like this, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Dang it. I'll hate myself later, but for now.
There's some casting I really don't understand a lot of times, but the one thing that makes me think, think twice about stuff a lot of times is like way back in the day when Jack Nicholson was going to be the Joker and Michael Keaton was going to be Batman, because I had seen Michael Keaton in so many things that were just comedy based.
Yeah.
And to see him take on a serious character, I was really, really disappointed at first, but then, of course I saw it and it was really good. And, of course it doesn't hold up now to me.
Right.
Some people might, disagree, but, he did actually a really good job. And, so I try to hold out, and just see,
Yeah. Well, I mentioned like the last couple Robert Pattinson movies I've seen were The Lighthouse, Cosmopolis, and A Good Time, all of which are very much not the same style he would have needed to act in Twilight.
How was The Lighthouse?
It's a trip.
I actually want to watch it.
It's a trip. Yeah, I like it's. I mean, now's the time for it. It's a weird. It's a psychological experience. It's done as a parody of psychological horrors, but in a way that makes it one itself.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's one of those things that's a parody that also succeeds as the thing that it's a parody of.
Yeah.
And so I liked it.
Call me weird, but I wanted to watch that because of Willem Dafoe. Like,
yeah,
I love.
He's wonderful. Is great. Yeah. But yeah, and then Cosmopolis. It was based off of a Russian poem, but it's a movie. It takes place entirely inside of a car during the collapse of the old nations, and everything is said in spoken verse.
Interesting.
So it's Robert Pattinson essentially speaking in very grim poetry, talking about the literal end of the world. Yeah, it's different. It's an art kid movie. Like if you want to feel better than everyone around you, that's what you watch while you're drinking like a really expensive brandy.
It sounds very interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely not, yeah. And then The Good Time is the most Batman like I've seen him, where it's kind of detective-y, crime related, only he's on the wrong side of the law at this point. But it's very thoughtful. There's a lot of moments where it's a lot about working through a mental process and something.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still evidently on the wrong side of the law, according to the reviewer.
He might be. I think it'd be interesting to do if they were to lead to a point where he at this point it's year 2, so he's like, all right, I know how to fight people. I know how to like do the basics of like putting 2 and 2 together. I can get through this, and then at the end of it, he realizes I may have been working with the wrong people.
Right. Yeah. The idea that the reviewer mentioned that, oh, what if, like, according to some of the stuff that he thought and he's deduced on his own, is that like there's the possibility that he finds out he was working for the Court of Owls. How great would that be?
I was thinking that
so
too.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he did point out that he had that the forearm.
Yeah, the talons.
Yeah.
Talons. Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. Like the talons, like bracer or band, whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's definitely the same. Hey, Tommy.
Hey, Tommy.
Tommy. It is late.
Yes.
For me, I don't know if it's late for you, Tim.
It's about it's still mid evening for us over here. For Jose, his day may just be starting.
All right. Yeah, I don't usually go to bed till like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm on Eastern time. And
I need to find. I need to become independently wealthy or marry into money, because that's the life.
There you go. And if you marry into money, throw some our way.
Absolutely.
Right. I had to remind my wife that you realize you did not marry me for my money, right?
Yeah.
I
tell my wife I'm the reason why you get to live this extravagant lifestyle that you're leading.
Accustomed to.
Yeah.
There's a reason we get Costco hot dogs and not Walmart brand.
Yeah.
But I definitely am excited to see more of because also the way he just presents himself, he definitely seems like he's going to be more of the, like we mentioned, the more of the detective side of Batman. Whereas Ben Affleck was good, but he was Definitely more of the later era Batman going to maybe break some fingers first, ask questions later.
Right.
It's
I'm definitely
funny in the
interested now.
movies how they depict him, actually killing people or maybe killing people.
Mm-hmm.
And in the comics, there's like, it's actually a fault of his that he won't,
Mm-hmm.
take anybody out, like for real,
Yeah.
and they keep getting out, and then he puts them back in, and then
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I think that's pretty
Was
neat.
it? Yeah. Was that the Flashpoint? The thing that kind of was the first shock in Flashpoint was watching Damian Wayne put a sword through someone as Batman.
Yeah.
Oh, did you guys ever play the Arkham Knight games?
I have not played any of those.
I started to, and it was really good. I just never got to get any farther with it.
I like them, but definitely when you get to like Arkham City, Arkham Knight, where you have the Bat Tank and you're demolishing people, are you kind of like, are we sure we're not killing people? Because it kind of seems like
Right.
a 50 caliber seems like it's more on the lethal side of responses.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah, there's
might
nowhere to
have been
hide from that.
excessive.
Yeah, there's definitely nowhere to hide from a 50 cal.
No.
Heck, I mean, you put armor piercing rounds in a 7.62 AK-47.
Mm-hmm.
There's no hiding from that either. I mean,
Right.
there's yeah.
Yeah. So the overall kind of imagery, you guys being very art-minded, the design of Gotham, the art direction, the ambiance. We'd already mentioned the fact that it's raining everywhere. What are your guys' kind of thoughts on how the art itself or the direction is looking?
It's definitely dark. I mean, they have really. I mean, if dark is what they were going for, they did it. Noir, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it checks all the boxes there for sure. In my boot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like it.
I can agree with that. I like that. It's almost like man, there was a storyline where Gotham got destroyed, like No Man's Land, right? And
Yeah.
I kind of get the feeling that was when I saw like the different aspects that they showed of Gotham City, which wasn't a lot, but like in particular the building with the bat signal and a few other like where he was in the lower levels, you know what I mean, of the city. And when that it very much reminded me of No Man's Land in regards to how they set up like the landscape of Gotham.
Yeah. I definitely think it's interesting how it does look darker, but it's not, it doesn't look real world gritty like Nolan's did. There's definitely elements of like high concept there where everything looks stylized.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out or is received. But
Y'all remember Judge Dredd?
Oh yeah.
The first thing I thought of when I saw the way some of that stuff was built on top of each other and all that, had it like a Judge Dredd.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I brought up Dark City in that I felt that it was
the same.
Of that. Like even when they mentioned about where the Riddler was sitting when the police came and whatnot, that's very much like some classic noir like buildings and landscape and just I mean they've always done that with Batman, even with the Chris Nolan one and even into Joaquin Phoenix's the Joker. Like I know a lot of that was set up as using actual buildings and stuff like that, but it still was set up to look like stuff on like buildings on top of buildings, you know what I mean, in the lower part being you know what I mean, being darker and moodier, and you know what I mean. You definitely have a different feel when when you're watching that scene where they're pulling him out of the diner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think, and I dig it. Like I think it's cool. Like I said, I love like old Cagney movies and whatnot, and so like the old noir feel like that, and that was my probably Dark City was probably one of my first noir movies I ever watched. You know what I mean? So like it stuck with me in regards to like ambiance of like a cityscape and whatnot.
Absolutely. And with the I guess kind of getting into theory crafting. Here's something I was kind of thinking about with the Riddler setting himself up to be caught in the trailer, and that being kind of a central thing, as well as with as many riddles as he's writing to Batman, almost seeming like he's trying to get his attention pointed to somewhere else. Do we think the Riddler is going to be the actual bad guy at the end of the movie?
I don't think you.
Spoiler. This
Yeah.
is future me coming back to after I've seen the movie, and the Riddler is going to be actually leading Batman to the realization that he is the bad guy.
I think it might be the Riddler kind of pointing Batman. It's going to be Batman pointing out the clues, but the Riddler. I kind of think it might be the Riddler pointing Batman to the Court of Owls.
Yep.
Yeah.
That would be great. Like the whole Court of Owls storyline was such a great storyline, and like minus the fact that like was it Greg Capullo's artwork for that storyline was just perfect. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And but like the storyline was fantastic, and like the idea, like I know a lot of people that are like excited to even have the option for a Court of Owls storyline. You know what I mean? Just the idea that could be a possibility. Man, that's just because I think the storyline really needs to be made into a movie. It really
absolutely.
Does.
Yeah. Yeah, we could be entirely wrong. It could be something else.
I know, right?
It's
boy, wouldn't it be cool if it was though?
I know. It's actually going to be the crocodile. What's his name?
And then Ezra Miller Flash comes in to say, "Oh, by the way, psych."
Yep. Alrighty. Well, that has been that Silverline show on Tuesday. We have been your hosts, Tim TK, Jose Fuentes, and Quentin Bedwell. Jose, where can people find your work? Where can they find you?
They can find me on Facebook under Jose Fuentes or Jose A. Fuentes Art. And they can find me on Instagram under the same name, Jose A. Fuentes Art. Yep. That's really all I post on.
Yeah. And Quentin, where can people find you and your work?
All over the internet, Quentin Bedwell. You can find me posting stuff on Facebook from time to time. Instagram. I have some stuff over on DeviantArt. GameCrafter.com. Relic Quest. Game I did, and fixing to have some have the Christmas special coming out. The campaign is still going, right? Or
it's
still
on Turn and Indiegogo.
Yep, and you can find me everywhere at Tim TK Writer.
So we're pretty proud about the Christmas special coming out. You guys, you need to get over there and check that out because, man, that's got everybody and their brothers' work in there, writing, art. Man, it's got the whole Silverline crew.
Quentin made my story look much better than it has any right to be.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, but I thought it was awesome. I got into it the more that I was doing it, and now I'm back on these tropes, and I'm in wolf hunter mode. And so I'm having to do exaggerated. You see this guy? I'm having to do exaggerated muscles and stuff again, and I'm having to bring back the.
It's a lot of people Quentin.
It's kind of crazy doing all this stuff again, doing all these space things and
Yes.
sci-fi fantasy after going. It's like I went from World War II and now I'm boom in Star Wars.
Yes, yeah,
So,
and
I
yeah.
love the pages that you did. Was it 2 weeks ago? You were showing us the pages that you were doing
Yeah.
for.
Yeah, I
And
really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, and it was
wow,
kind of stuff that I haven't done really, that I'm not real familiar with. So I appreciate it, Tim. And I am really looking forward to seeing the book when it comes out. The full, not just the Christmas special, but the full on. I'm really excited to see the
Yes.
Christmas special, but I cannot wait to see this thing come to fruition because I'm just really excited about it. I love the characters already. I love the setting and just the whole premise you've got going there.
yeah,
I turned in. I double checked, and so we have the letterer on issue 1 with the final little touches on dialogue. So that is in its last steps before it is birthed forth from our collective loins.
that's where it's at right now.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
yeah.
outstanding.
Yeah, it is just about ready. And the rest of the run has been written and is in some stage of penciling, inking, or coloring. So it is.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah,
Like,
we good.
and there are so many stories in the Christmas special that
Oh yeah,
I just seriously just so much for what what the perks are giving you. Like, you really are getting a deal.
yeah. It's a fat book.
It's fat.
Fat with the PH.
Fat.
It is. Yeah.
Well, you're getting to see what I think is so cool about it is getting to see some titles that have I would say, I don't want to say finished because Kalis, I don't know if it's actually finished. I know that story arc is finished.
Right.
For Kalis, issues 1 through 4, but I think there's talk
There might be more
about some more Kalis.
Yeah.
And I hope so. But there's that. There's stuff that's already been established. There's Trump's established. But to get a sneak peek into titles that are coming and characters that are coming to Silverline, I think that's pretty awesome. So, like Wolf Hunter, Night Rise, another one that I'll be working on after I get done with the third book of Trumps. I got just a few pages left of this third book of Trumps, and it'll be going up. So
every time one of the creators posts something on our like Silverline chat, I'm just shocked.
I know, right?
Because we have such amazing artists, but wow, really? I just look at it holy cow, it's so good.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I am excited.
I know Dean just posted some stuff. Real excited to see that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm getting some concepts back on my newest thing, and good lord, I'm stoked on that as well. I don't think Jim has posted any of that in the chat, so I know we talked a little bit about last time about how Quentin, you're also a bit of an armor nerd, so I have to share some of the armor designs that are coming for this.
Yeah.
All right. We night, and we will be back next week. Don't forget to check out the Wednesday Whammers tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, as well as the Silver Sunday Crew, 8 p.m. Eastern as well on Sunday. We will be back next week to talk about more things nerd-tastic, and we will see you then. And until then, make mine
Silverline. Good night, everybody.